What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Her Lounge podcast. We are Zooming today. Thank God for Zooming.
Dude,
Otherwise, this podcast would be late, y'all, because I work at the Hive all week.
Oh, you're hustling, huh?
So, well, not really. I just decided to sign up for my days a little bit different. I'm trying to have one day during the week and one day on Friday. So I still have, when I have too many days during the week, I don't feel like I can catch up on stuff. But anyway, this podcast is brought to you by Her Lounge Podcast and HERR Apparel. If you haven't signed up to the Patreon, come on over, guys. We have a whole amazing community where we support and love one another. And, HERR Apparel. I'm going to start adding just pictures, stock photos versus me always having to wait to get a photo shoot, guys. So if you don't like my stock photos, I'm sorry. You're going to have to use your imagination for now until I have time to get on this photo shoot thing. So yeah, those are all the announcements for today. I feel like we're at church. So announcement number one.
Here's another one. By the way, speaking of the Patreon, patreon.com/Her Lounge Podcast. You guys can do a free trial. You can try any of the tiers, the 5, 10, the 25, for 7 days free. Get all the perks, jump in the Discord, see what it's all about, get the extra episode this week. And if you feel like it's for you, you can sign up. If you feel like it's not for you, you don't have to. So it's a risk-free trial, as they say.
Oh, I didn't know that. But I did see, I updated my app and it's added all these new things. Did you see that?
I haven't seen the app. No, because I usually use a desktop.
Okay, so the app has all these new features you can use, which is pretty cool. Even for administrators, like if you can't get to your, I actually sat there and read everything.
Nice.
Usually I'm just like, I'm updating this thing. Ain't nobody got time to read everything y'all about to do. But this one was pretty easy. So, anyway. How was your Father's Day?
It was good. We actually ended up going to Don's dad's, and we kind of just grilled and chilled, and kind of just kept it pretty low key. What about y'all?
Actually, this is the first time we kind of went to his sister's house. It was also his sister's birthday fell on Father's Day this year, so they kind of combined the two together. It was nice. So all the kids were playing, and it didn't feel like Father's Day, if that made sense. It felt more like just us like hanging out. So that was kind of nice, where you didn't feel the pressure of like, who's all here, that type of thing. But we did go to church in the morning. We did Father's Day at church, and then we went out to eat to Rudy's after. And then we went to go leave flowers at my dad. So my dad's headstone, we got it's cement. Okay, let's just talk about a headstone. All right. These two vases, they're on the base, so there's no way for them to fall off. Like, it's cement. Well, I guess it's been so hot, and with the weather and everything, literally our vases, both of them, cracked in half. What? So my sister and I both go to leave flowers to my dad, only to and that's usually where we put our flowers. And the reason we did that is so that she could leave one on one side and I can leave one on the other side. I didn't just want to have one vase, right? And that's me I don't like uneven numbers also. So we each get one, so that whenever we go, but they're broken. I was like, I told my sister, I was like, damn, I didn't know like the weather could damage cement.
Yeah, I guess after time, right? I mean, the rain, it gets hot and then cold. It's just like anything else. It's like glass.
Yeah, it's going to be 17 years this year that my dad's passed in October. But damn, I mean, I guess, yeah, that is a long time.
Does it look good? Does it still look fine?
Everything else is still fine. What's not fine is those vases that, like I said, are on the base. I'm going to have to find a new place that does that, because my sister said the one that we got this done, I got it done one of the oldest places that makes headstones here in Houston. They've been like family generation. It's right there on Washington. Mm-hmm. But she said after the pandemic, she hadn't seen it like opened. I was like, bro, don't tell me that, because they were super convenient. They actually go to where your place is, and they do everything there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a business
So
you don't think would struggle during what we went through. You think they'd be thriving, unfortunately.
I wonder how many people actually buried, and a lot of people, like how many people were cremated during this time,
Uh,
during the depopulation they put out.
whoa. Am I talking to Chingo Bling right now? Am I
I
talking
mean,
to
that is what happened, you know.
dude?
Uh,
I'm gonna wait for the private episode to ask you about the RFK. Did you listen to?
that's why I was walking, Rob. That's honestly why I was like, I got to take a longer route today. I got to finish a little bit more than the podcast.
So you're not done with it
And
yet?
I was going to go on a whole family walk. And I said, no. I need this by myself. I want to
Yeah.
like listen because, I never really, unless I'm in the car, I just can't listen
Yeah.
to the podcast. But anyway, bro.
Dude, so I'm gonna. That's why I'm gonna wait to ask questions into the private because Jordan Peterson's interview with him has been removed from YouTube. What was the other one? Oh, Theo Von's was removed from YouTube. And then there was some other commentary from other big YouTubers, not even like one-on-one interviews, just commentaries about interviews. Their channels have been completely demonetized and restricted. So you can't even talk about it on this platform. And it's unfortunate because I love this platform, but it's making it really hard to continue loving this platform.
Are you saying YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube specifically.
Okay. Not like Apple or Spotify
No,
yet.
no.
Okay. So funny thing is, by the way, real quick, thank you guys if you came out this past weekend to my husband's show. It was really cool. There were so many people. Shout out to Steph from our Discord. She's on both Discords.
Mm-hmm.
Our jiu-jitsu gym came out and they showed a lot of support. They were all there. Just a lot of people who were there. Like, it was just really nice. Everybody killed. It was funny because I am probably the one everybody probably always thinks that, oh, she must be the wife. She's got to just always tell him he does a good job. But I'm just that wife that does not do that.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, bro, you killed this weekend. Oh my God. I was like, I hate to say this, but I usually tune out, like during the show. I said, and then I'll listen in here and there if I catch something new. When you work with comedians and their set, you tune out because you hear the same sets, But if they say something new, it's funny how your brain knows it's something new, so you'll kind of look up. But he had it set so good. It was, it was just really good. So I was just really proud of him.
Yeah, I was getting
everybody.
text messages from people that were friends of mine that went to the
so
show.
Good.
They were like,
Eddie
dude.
Bravo was there.
Yeah.
So that was really dope. And it was funny because we kind of had we started having a conversation, and he was asking, what did he ask? He goes, because where he kind of stands or whatever, right? And he said, how did you know to not birth in a hospital? I said, I don't know. I just kind of knew. He was like, well, Chingo, you're lucky you didn't, what do you say? You're so lucky you didn't get a dumbass. I was like, damn.
Dude, Eddie's the best, man.
So I was like, hold on.
No, go ahead. People know. Marisol, don't stop. The texts always come through. The people are calling. Somebody always needs something.
Yeah. And then, so it was just really, really, really nice. But we kind of on our Uber ride had this conversation. And I had told him that I remember when my midwife, my first midwife, we had a conversation about vaccines. I really don't know why I had a question about vaccines, because it's not like I come from anti-vaxxer family, or it's not like I wasn't vaccinated. I don't remember. I don't know if it was a book or maybe just me down the holistic and, midwife, YouTubes and all that. Maybe I heard it there, but I just remember thinking or remember like saying to myself, okay, I got to think this vaccination stuff out. You know what I'm saying? Like I've just heard so many things about um, children getting, it's causing autism because of it. And I just was like, damn, I didn't really know because we took those vaccines as kids, So, but if you listen to the podcast, right, it kind of all makes sense. Like it really does. And it's a tad bit scary to where now my girls have their annual checkup next week on Monday. And I don't know that they're going to get vaccinated. Like, I think I'm going to file for the vaccination exemption thing form. And I think Jess Tier sent it to me the other day. And I think I'm going to go ahead and go with it. Because although I don't follow a regular schedule, they still eventually do get all the vaccinations. Does that make sense? So they'll still have them. I think Penny gets the last one before, like this one that she's due is the last one before she's got to go back for a couple of years. But Sunny gets one up until every year up until 4, if I'm not mistaken. She's actually behind right now. So she doesn't have like 3 vaccines. And then the 4th one that's due when you turn 2. If she were up to date when she goes on Monday, she would only be doing the vaccination. I think that's the one, if I'm not mistaken, that they say has caused autism. So that's the one that's usually due at 2, because that's usually when parents find out that, you know what I'm saying, like my child's been died. It's usually that vaccine. Anybody that I've talked to, even the girls that we had on the podcast, remember, it's that vaccine that when they turn 2 that has supposedly caused this. I remember Rogan had somebody else, which is now the doctor that's calling out Rogan, right?
Oh yeah,
and
Peter Holtz. I think.
You see the whole Twitter fight. I never really get on Twitter except to read, but that was so juicy.
Dude.
And it's so true. Like, why aren't they on there? Like,
nobody's taking the bait. I think they're up to like $600,000 or $700,000.
800.
800. Jeez.
800. And I just don't get it. Like, if you really have something to prove and you're saying they're wrong, right? Or he's wrong.
Yeah.
Then what's the problem?
Yeah, the burden of proof should be on them to prove why they're wrong. If they're saying that they're wrong.
If I knew somebody was wrong, there's nothing but a better feeling than proving somebody wrong. Yeah. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, and then you get, all that money towards a charity of your choice, right?
I mean, it's a win-win. But I remember that guy, that podcast, when he was on there with Rogan, and I think Rogan told him, it's like, but I have friends. Whose kids got, were diagnosed with autism after that one vaccine. And he said that that's not true. And, he said his daughter has autism. I don't know if you remember that podcast. And he kind of talked about like, my daughter has autism, it has nothing to do with the vaccine. But there's way too many parents now. I think I talked about this maybe a couple of episodes back where I randomly met a lady. Did I tell you about that at the Hive?
I don't think so.
Okay, so there's a girl there that makes all natural soaps. It has like no chemicals, no nothing, right? And so when she was checking them out, I was just kind of telling her, I was like, this is all done with natural oils, blah, blah, blah. I said, it's really good stuff, with especially for kids because everything has so many chemicals. And she goes, and she just turned around. She goes, and also with the
oh man,
like this. And if you're not watching, I basically acted like I was injecting my arm because she didn't want to say it. Because then she goes, because they're, and she shows me the phone, right, saying they're listening. And she was so shocked that I was holding the conversation with her. She was like, I need your phone number. And I was like, lady, I am not giving you my phone number. Like, we are not going to get in the same group. You know what I'm saying? Like, you seem to be very deep in.
She's going to invite you into a WhatsApp group.
Exactly. So the I think, I don't know if I told you the documentary that Ricky Lake made about vaccines. Okay. So that one, it's where she had a woman on there who had twins. Those kids are now like mid-20s. I think she's graduated with like a PhD and she knows like 6 languages. I don't know. Like, well, this lady knows her. And so she was telling me I said, yeah, I watched the documentary. I said, that's why my kids don't get the regular vaccine schedule. Da, 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 da. So I went on with it. She goes, I said, there's a family on there. And she goes, oh my God, that's my friend. Look, look, look. And she starts showing me her Facebook. And you know, the mom is still fighting for, you know, and she showed me how she's in a group of a Facebook group who's anti-vax and just all these things, you know what I'm saying, about it. And she said, I'm so happy that you are this young and that you are so aware. She goes, because there's no way I could convince my daughters. My daughters and my husband tell me I'm a conspiracy theorist and they think I'm crazy. And she's like, you know, she said her daughters and her husband vaccinated themselves for, you know, this
Yeah.
jab. And so she's like, they were mad at me for not doing it, you know? And I said, I mean, I didn't do it. I said, you couldn't pay me to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
Prior to all
whatever.
that, as a new mom in your, you know, essentially 40s, did you have conversations like this prior to having the kids about the jabs?
No,
No.
that's the weird thing. I'm trying to remember how I started questioning because I always knew even though I said I would never have children, right?
Hmm.
I always knew. I don't know how I knew. The only thing that I remember is when my aunt had her baby and my grandmother was there, she made a comment saying it's so weird how they deliver the babies in the hospital.
Hmm.
And so I asked what was weird. She's like, you don't do all this when you birth at home. You don't need to. She's like, your body will do it itself. And I was like, oh man, my grandma's so like anti-doctor. Like this is what you do. But then, you know, I think you get older and you start to learn about things. And then, like I told you, like when my mom was going through like chemo, I remember, I remember whenever when I would go to the appointments with her, she would say they would have different like workshops that you could attend to learn about like the different, you know, cancers and da da da. And I remember going to the one about uh, birth control, which when you think about it now, Rob,
Hmm.
why I don't think they would have that right now with so much information war happening.
Hmm.
We're
What, birth
talking
control?
about my mom is probably 11 years or 12. She's 12 years remission, so she's up there.
Hmm.
So I don't remember why that was okay to talk about because you wouldn't hear that right now. I mean, that's a big money. You know, that's where pharmaceutical, you know, companies make a lot of their money is from birth control.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, there's non-hormonal birth control, which is the best kind you can get. But man, I was listening to this other lady who I just discovered. It's called Little Ray of Health,
Okay.
and check her out. So she basically does help gives you tips on balancing your hormones through food and like vitamins and stuff. And it's crazy because I didn't know intermittent fasting had anything to do with like messing up a woman's hormones.
Mm.
And everything I was telling Pete, he was like, sounds like everything you do, it looks like you can't do it anymore. Because I don't purposely do intermittent fasting. I'm just not that hungry in the morning. So
Yeah.
I'm like a pastry and food and like coffee. And then, you know, I eat because it'll kick. Now I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? But she was saying that usually if you're one of those people that does not wake up hungry in the morning, it's because you have a slow metabolism. Because if you ate at night, like you had your dinner, your stomach should have already metabolized everything by the time you wake up in the morning. You should be hungry because your stomach is empty.
Hmm.
I was like, damn, is that true? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really wake up that. There's sometimes when I do, if I eat dinner super early, but she made a lot of good points. So guys, go check her out if you're interested in any of that. My hormones are whack, so you know
My hormones are whack.
yeah.
That's the name of this
So
episode. My
yeah,
hormones are whack.
exactly. So they're all over the place, and I told you guys a while back the reason I knew something was up is I watched an episode of the Kardashians, and I don't know how I started crying, which I thought was crazy. So I was like, I do not know why I'm crying about a Kardashian episode, bro. This is crazy. Um, Yeah, I don't know. Pete and I are kind of talking. We have a kind of a week to decide because, they're going to their doctor visit on Monday. And I don't know that we're going to go with them getting vaccinated anymore. I know Jess Tier said she has never vaccinated her last baby.
Hmm.
She's never been vaccinated before. She's like, and she's healthy, and I don't have any issues with her. So yeah, I don't know. They did get vaccinated up until most of their vaccines,
Hmm.
minus Sunny, right? But
Do
it's
do you
scary.
remember the part where Bobby Kennedy was saying, he's like, Joe, how old are you? He's like, I'm 55. He's like, I forgot how old RFK is. Let's say closer to 65, maybe 70. He goes, have you ever met a 60-year-old autistic person?
I'm not there yet. Pete
Oh,
told me,
oh, okay, okay, okay.
and that's why I told you that it makes total sense because okay, so a long time ago when I was in high school, I wanted to be a special education teacher. So I did that program in high school, and I only worked with special needs children.
Hmm.
That's all I did. And I think that's around the time that I noticed there were so many more children with Down syndrome and autism. Because I don't know about you, Rob, but for me growing up, children who had special needs were still in the same school as me, but they were they were always kept like in a back area, like a tea shack in the back, you know what I'm saying? And that's where
Yeah.
you would only see them as they were like maybe going to lunch or going to PE or whatever. But it was like a handful of them. There wasn't even a lot. And then in elementary school, I really don't remember seeing but maybe two of them. And I think those same two went to the same middle school that I went to. And then I think maybe another three joined them, but I don't remember there being like a whole classroom full of them. Like I don't remember that being the case. Then I get to high school, and now I'm working with the high school students, and it's a whole classroom of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
it is a little odd.
yeah, it's just from that era. So I was telling him, I was like, I would love to see the data, if any, is actually going to be, published or anything on when did they see these cases of autism start to happen? You know what I'm saying? And how it's happening way more. And when Pete told me that, I was like, oh, bro, that's so true.
So,
Because how many?
how many things now do you question on a regular basis?
I like everything. And I hate that I do that. I hate that I do that. I hate it because I just hate that I feel like
You've been lied to all
as
your
it is, I'm
life.
paranoid about everything now, right? And it's like everything's always like, oh my God, that girl that I'm telling you about, she talks about how if you're able to, when you can, like make sure you're getting like grass-fed butter, because basically what she said was you know the saying, you are what you eat.
Right.
Well, you are, because whatever that cow ate, whatever hormones that cow took, you're about to ingest yourself. So you're about to have all the hormones that cow did too.
Hmm.
And I was just thinking like, oh man, I didn't need to know that. Thankfully, I have my own cow right now that I eat. So my cow is good. But when you're out and about, right? I mean, you kind of don't know. I went to Rudy's for Father's Day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there beef? Where is their beef coming from? Is it grass fed? I don't know. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm sitting there asking. Imagine there was an episode of oh my God, what is that dang on show? Um it's such dry humor. If I tell you, you're gonna know which one I'm talking about. But anyways, they're at the dinner table, or they're out having dinner, and it's like they ordered like I think like chicken, and it was like, well, where was the chicken born, and what farm? And it's like, is it organic? What did he eat? What kind of organic food did he eat? And it's so funny because he's asking the waiters like, I don't know, let me go ask. Let me go. At first, it was like, let me go ask. Sure, no problem. And then at the end, it was like, I don't know, type of thing. But it's like damn, I don't want to live my whole life like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Questioning and doubting. And then, like, I mean, are we just going to be in a bubble like all day long? Or are we just staying home? I mean, that's kind of what I am now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to lie to you. And it's like, I hate it that,
I think that though is more so that like there's just a lack of like interest in going to do things that you wanted to do 10, 15 years ago, right?
yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, like now for me, it's like, let me find things that are cool for my kids. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
we can go experience together as a family. But I mean, really, it's just like the food choices, right? Like my kid is so picky, and it's like, what can I do to find better food options so that, they're still eating well, and they're still like getting vegetables in because Penny doesn't like it. The only way I'm able to do it is I have this protein powder that's like greens for kids. Um, chocolate flavor, so they still have to put the chocolate one. I know it's cacao, but the strawberry one, I'm not sure how they get it to taste like strawberry. So then it's like that question there.
Yeah.
But I make her shakes, and that's the only way she gets greens. Because other than that, she's not gonna.
It's a phase though. It's a phase.
It better be because I was like that as a kid. My mom didn't give me vegetables because she assumed that because she didn't like them, I wouldn't like them either, bro.
Dang.
That And then I remember I would only eat lettuce because my grandma would put a shitload of lemon juice on it and salt to eat it with tacos with like carne picada
Yeah.
or picadillo. And I used to be like, oh my God, this is the best. And I loved lettuce. And then onion, I would only have it grilled. And then later on, it was like I tasted a raw onion. I was like, oh shit, I like the texture of raw onion. I didn't know it was good. I thought it was only good cooked. I still can't do tomatoes, but
Tomatoes.
other than that, I'm fine. But anyway, yeah, it's scary.
Like, so what advice would you give moms? Because you
Yeah.
know you have a lot of, other women and just females in general, biological ones, that is, who are listening to you. Like, what are you gonna maybe like, what do you want to feel in order to like make the right decision? Like, do you want to feel confident? Do you want to just try to obviously get as much information as possible? Like, who are you trying to listen to these days, or who's telling you the things that you think make sense?
Okay, for me, I'm going to tell you this. If in doubt, go do your research about it. If it doesn't sound like something you want to do to your kid, you do know you have the right to say no.
Mm-hmm.
You have the right to say, I'll revisit this again. I'd like to think about it. I like to, like, for example, when there's a cocktail vaccine they have to give the girls, I always say, I'd rather them not be cocktail. I like them. And then, they always try to convince you, like, well, this is to avoid several pokes, right? So that they only get one poke versus four pokes, right? And I'm like, just think about that, Rob. You're putting four vaccines in one syringe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should some shit hit the fan, how are we going to know which one of the four vaccines that you made a cocktail of was the one that caused issues, if any?
Right.
There's no way of knowing. And maybe I get it. Maybe my kid gets poked four times, but I spread them out and I have time to assess should anything happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, well, on June 15th or whatever, she got this vaccine. So I wonder if that had anything to do with these side effects. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can actually assess the situation versus not really like, you know, just, I don't know. Like, I've always questioned these things. You know what I'm saying? I've always kind of done it, especially, I mean, when I first saw my family, I was doing a home birth. Everybody, I told you, like, my aunt thought I was having money issues. And she was like, I can help you get on Medicaid if you want. I was like, it has nothing to do with that. I have insurance. I'm like, it has everything to do with like the whole hospital system. And then I just saw this thing. Check this out, Rob. And I don't even know if we'll be able to hear it.
Yeah, if you play it, we'll hear it.
We'll hear it.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
play it.
let me show you this that I just heard. Pete sent me this morning, which is crazy because if this is something my midwife told me about years ago with Black women, and I just kind of at that time I would feel like, okay, just Black women, but check this out.
Don't believe what the hospitals are doing with Black women's placentas. Did you know that all over the world, Black mothers are being exploited in hospitals for the rich and the wealthy? There are rich people who need new hearts and organs and are using technology to generate them by using high quality blood tissues and melanin. And where do you think they're getting this blood tissue and melanin from? From Black women in hospitals after they had babies. When they have you signing these papers in a hospital, you are actually giving them the right to become a trustee and take your placenta, umbilical cord, and cord blood. Then they sell them to companies like Life Bank USA and Celgene. Life Bank USA buys all the blood, the cords, and the placentas. Celgene takes the melanin and blood from those and give them to a chemist to clone it and create new organs. So while women out here struggling to make ends meet on welfare, Section 8, and things of that nature, these Fortune 500 companies are banking off them and making billions. You won't believe what the hospitals are doing with Black.
So my midwife told me that years ago. Also, like the mortality rate of women while giving birth in a hospital is way higher than any other race. So I used to always think, wow, that's crazy. Like I didn't know that information, but that is, I mean, I encapsulated my placenta. I ate my placenta, and I also did, I did the cord delay. So Penny didn't get her the umbilical cord. She didn't get it cut until, and the placenta was still attached to her for about 3 minutes after she was born. And the reason why is because there's still blood pumping through there even after you've delivered. And if you cut the umbilical cord immediately, you pretty much just left all this good stuff just sit there when she could have gotten it all, every drop until the end. So I did do the umbilical cord delay with her. I didn't get to do it with Sunny because obviously I ended up getting a C-section. And it's funny because when I got back into the room, I remember thinking to myself, bro, I didn't even ask for my placenta. Like I want my placenta. And at that point, it was probably too late because they probably had already taken it and I probably had already signed paperwork.
Yeah.
You know, because I came in as an emergency C-section.
So I know we just watched that video. Maybe I missed the larger picture of what he was trying to say. Like, is it just that they're harvesting these things and repurposing them?
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff, like you can make money by selling your placenta to them.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So you don't have to we give it up. Like, oh, it's what do I want with it? Well, he just told you, like, people buy this and you can sell your placenta. You can also eat your placenta too, like eat your shit back. Like the baby just took all this from you, put it back in your body because your baby just sucked your vitamins out of you, sucked everything out of you. So just put it back in you. You have it all over again. So there's just a lot of stuff I feel that we don't know about our bodies. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think like they don't do a good job of teaching us, you know, the same thing with like, with the birth control, with abortion, everything is like, you must, right? You must take birth control, right? You must have an abortion if you accidentally got pregnant, right? It's not like educate yourself about birth control and all the different, like, especially the birth control that doesn't let you have a period. That's the worst thing you could do to yourself. The worst thing you can do to yourself. Our body does that for a reason. It's taking shit out of your body. Like having a period is a must. You know what I'm saying? Which is the part that freaked me out the most. I will be MIA, guys, for a little while, probably just for about 2 weeks, I'm thinking. And so we're going to have to pre-record some episodes that will probably be, here within the next week because I will be having surgery. I will be having a mommy makeover. Just kidding. Everybody wants to think that. Everybody wants to think that I'm lying about it. Like, what are you getting done? Really? I'm almost like, okay. I'm having a partial hysterectomy and an umbilical hernia fixed So, and my fibroids removed, which when they take the uterus out, that's pretty much what we're doing is taking that out. So I will be MIA. My point to that is that I will no longer have a period once that happens, right? Because they've taken the uterus out. But there we go again. It's like,
so it makes you wonder, how important really is it if you can remove the uterus and still, function just fine?
we need your uterus to be able to carry a baby.
Right. But I'm saying, but at the period part of it, at least, like once it's gone, you're no longer forever going to have a period.
Right. And that just happens when there's other issues happening. And that's the thing that's causing the issue.
Yeah, dude.
I'm feeding my uterus right now.
Our bodies are incredible, don't get me wrong, but also like sometimes just the worst design ever. Especially for a woman, like damn.
Okay. And that's always what gets me with like the feminist movement and how we just allowed, like, again, here we go again, guys. I know.
We're trying to eradicate women these days.
I know I talk about this a lot, but here's my argument with allowing these men to come into the world, the world of women, of womanhood. And in reality, they don't even know what you go through, the scares that you go through. You know what I'm saying? Like women who suffer from PCOS, women that, can't have children. And then they're, you know what I'm saying? They're having to do their own struggles with, having to figure out how they'll have a baby. You see what I'm saying? Like, you'll never know what that's like, sir, regardless of how you describe yourself, So that's always what makes me mad, because when I was sitting there, Rob, getting a scraping done and how effing uncomfortable I was, and it was painful, I just remember thinking, like, and these motherfuckers want to let them come into our world like it's okay. And here I am sitting here like, you're scared. You don't really know what your results are going to be. You don't know if it's going to be cancerous or not cancerous. And you're just sitting around waiting. No matter how much you change your physical, cut off your boobs, add your boobs, cut off your penis to turn it into a vagina, you'll never go through these same things that we go through. Never. I don't care what you tell me. It's like you'll never know any of it. You'll never birth a baby unless you're going to birth it through your asshole. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, you're not going to be able to.
Well, they're going to for sure use the artificial like wombs. I don't know what they're going to call them exactly, but like, you know what I mean? Where they'll be able to use whoever's genetics or genes and eggs and fucking artificial things and put it in this little sack, and then in 9 months or however long, they'll be able to have their own baby out of this little thing.
But they're not going to be able to carry it themselves.
No, maybe not technically, but they'll have it in a bag next to them.
Sure, it's still not how a woman naturally has it, because you naturally can't.
What is a woman, Marisol?
You naturally can't mess up what God did.
We're redefining what that is altogether, though.
You're looking at her. I already told you.
I am her.
I am a woman.
I am her.
I am her. That's exactly why I have T-shirts that I have still not made that say that.
All right, we're about to shift into the premium episode, dude. What do people need to know on this public Wednesday episode halfway through June 2023?
Say that again.
What do people need to know? What do the listeners need to know about you, about life, about
you
her
cut
apparel?
Off a little bit. I just heard you. What do listeners need to know? And I was where did I miss the beginning?
No, about her world.
Well, listen, we are a community of women and men, our few men who are supportive of women, by the way, who are there to support one another, listen to each other. We have prayer groups. We have everything you can think of in our Discord. Come join my community. And, I'm here to empower, whether we agree or not on any of these subjects that I have on my podcast. I'm here to empower. And even if I don't agree with you, I still feel you're a woman. So you're empowering because you are a woman. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening. I'll see y'all next week.